Hello, I'm Matt, and welcome back to the second part of my web page tutorials. I don't remember what I called it on YouTube, HTML tutorial, how to make an HTML web page, whatever it is. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how to make hyperlinks, which is what hypertext is all about. And also some other little technical things. So the first thing I'll explain is hyperlinks, and you don't want to miss that. But if you don't want to really get into the technical side of HTML just yet, you can skip over the last part of this video, but it's really recommended if you're aiming for valid pages in our beloved validator, if you remember that. So let's get to hyperlinks. Hyperlinks are made using the A tag, and there's also a link tag, and so why don't you use the link tag? Well, the reason is that links were originally called anchors, and you'd have these anchors to quote in a page, and so it would take you to different pages. If you've ever seen in your browser's address bar, you see the little number sign, and then like on Wikipedia, the number sign, and then like a word or something, a short word describing where you are. Anchors in the page can direct you to different parts of the page, but mainly anchors can be used to direct you to other pages, which is an anchor, like a said spot on a page. And so you'd have your A tag, and then this is the first attribute that we've used. Yay! It's href, and it means hyperlink ref or hyperlink reference, something along those lines. I don't exactly know what it means. And so in quotes, remember that we have to have everything in quotes if we want it to be valid HTML. You don't necessarily have to have quotes, but it makes code a lot easier to read, and it's a lot better for the web browser. And let's put in a web address. Remember HTTP. You have to remember HTTP, the colon and the slash. That's the protocol, hypertext transfer protocol. It all leads back to hypertext. And then an address, www.google.com or something like that. Today's special little Google images honoring the cosmonaut who was the first human pilot in space. And so inside of the anchor tag is some text like describing the link. Like you see click here, and it'd be blue and underlined or purple and underlined most of the time if you've already visited it. And so let's put in like Google/A/P, Control save, and let's open it up, run, launch in Firefox. And then we see, I want to open this in a new window. Whoa. Okay. Open this up in a new window. You see, hey, here's a link to Google. And it works. Hooray, hooray. World rejoices. And you see down there that it's google.com. And now you want to be careful every once in a while when you are following links. This is kind of like another little side lesson. You want to make sure that you know where it is. And see, ta-da, google.com, our 50th anniversary of the first human space flight. And so, of course, you don't want to get something wrong, like forget P in there. Our test web page. Now let's follow this link. You get an error. See, so you want to be careful when you're typing in the web addresses. And you usually always want to have the HTTP, unless this is called a direct link. See, it goes directly to the page, so you can have like so right now we'd have HTTP, maybe www.yoursite.com/page.html. Let's say we went to that. Now that is called a direct reference or a direct link, meaning that you give the domain name and everything, the whole path, the whole protocol, which is everything. And it's useful if you're linking to other websites, or if you know your web pages are going to get moved around, or you're making a template for something. Now, hyperlinks, indirect references, are when you put something like page.html, and so it assumes that you're in the same folder as that page, unless you of course put, let's see, folder / page.html, put in that path right there. And so basically it changes with everything and all that. And so of course if we refresh, we don't have that. See, we don't have folder / page.html because of course it doesn't exist. We haven't made it yet. So those are hyperlinks. And also a little thing to add on to the styling, you can also use the M tag instead of the italics tag to make a list or whatever. Oh, I exited out of our little window. New window. History. Our test web page. And so we have our little web page here, and what did I just add? Oh yes. And you see that brown is the same as quick, it's all italicized and all that. And so let's get into some of the more technical parts. So this is where you can stop watching the video if you're not really into technical things, but it could help you in the future. Alright, so some technical things about our web page here. So like I said in the last video, I described this. The public, when you're creating a DTD and creating a new web language, you when you make your DTD, you refer to it if it's in the same folder or on the same server, or it's something that's not really widely used, or it's not a national or an international or a world or universe standard, you'd put in private instead of public. But since the World Wide Web Consortium is really public, and this is for like all web browsers, it's public. But if you were to create your own DTD on your own website, you'd put private there. And so here is the formal public identifier, or the format public identifier, or something like that. I forget exactly what it is. Don't worry, I know all this stuff, but it's been a while since I've actually looked at making web languages. And so so here is the formal public identifier. And so in here, this first little dash, it signifies that it's a public copy of something. And so, or it's a finished copy, a final draft of the DTD. And then the 2 slashes, it separates the data. And this right here is the company or the organization that makes it. And this is the DTD name, and then the language. And then here's the URL to the DTD. And that's your document type. And so document types can also be used with all sorts of web languages, and especially ones that you might create yourself with XML. And so let's look in our HTML tag. So remember our error, one of our errors last time with the validator? It said that we didn't have a namespace declared, and a namespace is basically just a certain set of instructions for, and it can point to a different DTD, and so you can have multiple DTDs being used. And so XMLNS, or XML namespace, is http://www.w3.org/1999/xhtml, and this enables all the special like XHTML elements and all that. And so it's something that's really required if you want a valid web page. Now, something else that we saw is that UTF-8, I mentioned it. And so you need, and since there's a bunch of character sets and all the different browsers have the different character sets, you need to actually define a certain character set, or certain like code that represents the letters. And so usually they have to be UTF-8. Most browsers use UTF-8 or ANSI or Unicode, all that good good programming stuff. And so we'd use the meta tag, which is also used for search engine optimization, which is actually getting your site high ranks in search engines like Google and all that. And so I'll get to that in a later video, but right now we're going to use HTTP equiv, which is HTTP equivalent. And HTTP, you know, the hypertext transfer protocol, it uses a bunch of messages to send and receive data. And so one of the messages that the website sends to the browser is the content type usually. So it knows which character set to use, which, like UTF-8 or UTF-16 or UTF-32, all that rich programming stuff, really. And so content, and our other attribute, would be text slash HTML. And so this is the MIME type, and it signifies that it's a text content, and that it's specifically HTML, and then a semicolon, which is separating the code, and then character set equals UTF-8. And so you see that this is called an empty tag because it doesn't have an official ending tag. And there's when you're embedding images, you come across this a lot, and also with the meta tag here, meta information, you have that last slash there, so it's actually valid HTML. There's an ending tag, and so the web browser doesn't think that you just didn't continue your tag there. And so if we go back to the validator w3.org, and we update our file, or we upload our file. Oh goodness, what's wrong here? Let's see. I did that. www.d3.xhtml, XML, NS. I don't know. Alright, let's see if we load it again, it'll validate it. Revalidate. I don't understand why we're getting these errors. UTF-8. We have our MIME type. Content type. That should be it. That's our XML namespace. This, I don't know. Encoding, transitional. Oh goodness, I don't know what's going on here. I really don't know what's going on here, but it should be a valid page overall. We have our XML namespace and our HTTP equivalent defining our character set. Maybe I forgot this last colon here. I really don't understand. Validator. Okay, this is really confusing me. I'm really confused right now. And tired. I've been to school. And let's see, content type. I really don't understand what's going on. You know, I'll look that up, and in the next video, in our little introduction, I'll try to figure that out. So I guess I'll see you in the next video, and well, I'll try to see if I can figure out what I did wrong. Bye.